more reaction, let's bring in the son of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Yair Netanyahu. This was an incredible moment for the people of Israel. Walk me through what happened here and what this meant for the country to get these 4 hostages back. What can you tell us?
Thank you, John. It's good to be here. This is a very happy day for all Israelis and all Jews, and I think all decent people around the world, of releasing 4 innocent civilian hostages that were brutally kidnapped from inside Israel on October 7. You can tell the difference between us and the Palestinians. Mm-hmm. All Israelis were celebrating yesterday for celebrating life, celebrating the release of innocent hostages, while we all saw the videos on October 7 of hostages, women, children, elderly, dead people, people who are alive, paraded in the streets of Gaza while the crowds cheer and poke fun and torture the innocent civilians. Hamas released the videos themselves of the cheerful crowds inside Gaza, of all the innocent Palestinian civilians celebrating the torturing and death and kidnapping of innocent civilians, who most of them were women and children. And that's the main difference between them and us. We celebrate life, and then they celebrate hate and death.
What message does this send to the Israeli people, knowing that there are still hostages out there, and this mission that you've been on to eliminate Hamas? Does that give more hope to these families that they will see their loved ones at some point?
Yes, of course. But I also want to go back to the civilian issue, which is Noa Argamani, as reported before, was said she was held by a Palestinian family, an innocent family, civilians, which one of them has reportedly been a journalist from Al Jazeera, and one of them is a doctor. So we see that there's a lot of this concern for innocent Palestinian civilians, but we need to remember that Hamas is not imposed on the people of Gaza. The Gaza civilian population democratically voted them in on 2006. Mm-hmm. They support them until now. They don't rise up against them until now. All polls show that there's an overwhelming support in the Gaza and Palestinian population overall to Hamas, right, especially after the atrocities of October 7. And we also need to remember that on October 7, a lot of the atrocities that happened, the raping, the beheading of babies, the torturing, the kidnapping, was carried out not just by Hamas terrorists, but also by regular Palestinian civilians who came in through the border when the border was open with flip-flops and just took their chance to rape and pillar and murder. Mm-hmm. And this is a real problem that we need to put into account.
Yeah. And here at home, this was a heroic rescue for the Israeli people. But here in the United States, some people took to the streets of Washington, D.C., outside the White House to voice their outrage. When you see this happening on American soil, does it make the people of Israel question America's commitment to Israel's defense under this administration?
I'm not going to comment about the administration, but regarding the American people, all polls show that there's an overwhelming support to Israel. The American people are righteous people. They're moral people. They're standing up with the democracy, which is the strongest ally of the United States, with Israel, that share common Judeo-Christian values and share the same interest and overwhelmingly support for Israel. These paid agitators are the same people from the 2020 riots. They're paid agitators by Soros and by foreign government who is hostile to the United States. In their protests of pro-Palestinian protests, they burn American flags. They destroy American monuments and statues. They calling to the destruction of the United States. While in pro-Israel Israeli protests, you have a lot of real Americans who wave the American flag and the Israeli flag and sing the national anthem. And you can tell the stark difference between the two groups.
Yeah, and you touched on this, but I want to ask this question too. CNN, big network here in the United States, they opted to label this historic rescue by the IDF as a hostage release. Do you see that this is a pro-Hamas talking point that disregards the harrowing risks that are taken here by the IDF to get these hostages? It's
truly outrageous. A lot of the mainstream media channels and outlets, they're using Hamas health ministry statistics about the death of civilians in Gaza. So first of all, a lot of high-ranked statisticians show that the numbers are impossible. For Israel, which is an advanced country, it took 2 months to realize how many people were killed on the October 7 massacre, while Hamas is releasing daily numbers, which, by the way, all of them are 100% women and children. Right. There's no terrorists, there's no combatants ever involved in the death numbers, according to the Hamas health ministry. And this is a terror organization who is committed to the destruction of Israel and America, and the American outlets just using their statistics as number. It's a fact. It's outrageous.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, and we're watching this just as closely as everybody else. Yair, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yair at Netanyahu.
Thank you, John.